Yeah, Reylo moms are the best moms. Wow. Have some more crack, chick.
I have to ask you,
Yeah.
do you know about Reylo and are you one?
I do know about Reylo. I don't know how I feel about it because everyone's talking about like the toxic thing of a relationship when it's like it's essentially emotional. It's a tricky road. I do feel like deep down Kylo like thinks what he's doing is right and he doesn't think he's wrong, but he has also killed so many people. So I can't really get behind it now in a personal way,
Ooh,
you know?
there's going to be a lot of heartbroken people out there.
Well, maybe there's redemption. Who knows? Maybe we explore it in the film.
Bendemption.
Hey
Nice.
guys, it's Stephanie. Welcome back to the Cantina. I am your hostess with the mostest. I am your chaos coordinator, your Wookiee wrangler, your bar manager, bar owner, truth teller. And by what you're seeing today, in the beginning is a reading Reylo, only it's really not. I'm not going to read tweets. I'm going to put one on there on here. I want to talk a little bit about some stuff I've actually seen though on Twitter. So today I'm in a chat with a bunch of girls who hate Reylo. We all come in various forms. Ray Solo is predominant, and there's a few people who want Ray Skywalker. There's a few people who hate Reylo, just hate her, hate the idea of it. But what's really funny is it all comes down to the same thing. Reylo is toxic. Reylo is abusive. Reylo excuses an abusive man. Reylo teaches girls to think that they can actually, fix a bad boy. But here's the difference. The bad boy's got to have a soul and a heart. All right? And he's got to want to change. Do you remember the story of him and her? Give you a little bit of a hint. Watching the OT and reading some of the between stories between Empire and New Hope and other things is, Han keeps telling Leia he's going to leave and he never does. Why? I mean, he's all but committed to the rebellion. Why? Not because he cares about the alliance, not because he likes politicians or thinks that things can change. He's committed to it because of her. Okay? You got to be a decent soul in order to want to change. Or you've got to be a man who's had to survive doing things that didn't necessarily jive with your morality and have those things that you did be forgiven because you're a decent soul, which is what happened to Han. When you look at his origin story, which I think is completely fascinating, and I think everybody should read it, I think he's literally the most underrated character in Star Wars. You see a kid who grew up on the streets, who grew up basically as an indentured servant to a really horrible person, escaped. He was taught Shri-Wook by an old Wookiee female who basically mothered him. He escapes after she sacrifices herself for him. He goes off on all of these adventures. He ends up finally realizing his dream of passing the test to get into Korea at the Imperial Flight Academy. He becomes an Imperial naval officer. And the reason why he got court-martialed and kicked out with the dishonorable discharge, with nothing but the boots on his feet, is because he saved a Wookiee. And why? Because of his old Wookiee friend and mentor, Dulana, and he felt like he owed her. And that's how Han and Chewie got met. Han saw Chewie being abused. Han was told to kill the Wookiee, skin the Wookiee, and bring the hide back to his commanding officer, named Nicholas. Han said, F you, I'm not going to do it. Nicholas started abusing the Wookiee. Han stuns Nicholas. And there you go. Chewie feels like he owes this young Corellian a life debt. And they became fast friends. All right? Decent soul. I want to ask, is there anything in canon, anything at all, that has any decency or soul to Kylo Ren? And I'm not talking about the books, because, and I'm going to say this, There are a lot of fanboys like Iron Wolf will hate my guts for saying this. I don't care because I don't like being treated like I'm a stupid blonde. Okay? The books really aren't canon. Only the movies, Clone Wars, and Rebels are canon. Okay? Think about it. All right? You can change the books anytime you want. Movies, not so. Unless some major league influence shows up and says, we can't do this anymore. These last 3 movies suck. They're gone. Okay? Which I would do, but, So, we've got the movies. And in the movies, there's absolutely nothing redeeming about Kylo Ren. Okay? I mean, even in TLJ, when he stood there, and avoiding firing on the Raddus, but he lets his own squadron almost kill his mother, and basically she would have been dead. I'm sorry. He should have stopped that. If he had any soul at all, he would have stopped that. And yet we have a contingent of little stupid little girls, and I'm talking about 50-year-old women who can't see beyond their own fuck-uppedness, thinking, oh, he's just a bad boy and you can change him. There's one girl on Twitter, and her name is irrelevant. You'll see the tweet. It's the only tweet I'm going to put on here. Who basically said, Reylo moms are the best moms. Really? Oh, honey, just because he robs banks and murdered 5 people, you can change him. Oh, you want to write letters to Ted Bundy? And maybe actually get a chance to have a conjugal visit? What a great idea. Honey, you can fix him. That's what this is! Alright? He's literally the fictional equivalent of Ted Bundy, of Charles Manson. What? You think you're a great mom because you're telling your girls that you can change an abusive asshole, a criminal like that? And I'm sorry, there's a huge difference between his father and him. Because again, Han had a soul and a heart. Okay? Kylo Ren was given everything he wanted, and he treated his parents like shit. There's absolutely nothing in canon except what goes on between the retarded brain cells of a bunch of fucked up Reylos that says Kylo Ren was treated badly. He chose his own path. He ran away from Luke. Okay? Now, I don't know what JJ's planning on doing to fix what Rian Johnson broke, but I'm also going to bring this up. I really don't think what Kylo Ren remembers is what really happened. He misremembered on purpose. He lied to Rey. Okay? And we all know that. I mean, basically Pablo Hidalgo himself has said that. Then we have, my favorite part is Lev Grossman in Vanity Fair that was filled with that bullshit, Reylo shit all over the place. Basically saying, they're likely brother and sister. You better be happy they never made out. But let's talk a little bit about this, because the person who perpetrated this the worst is Rian Johnson. He stole a fanfic from Street Solo, among other people. He perpetuated the myth because he paid more attention to the internet instead of writing a good story of Reylo. The finger touching. How the fuck do you get a conjugal moment in finger touching? I don't understand, but maybe it's women who never had sex before who think that's the way it's done. I mean, maybe they've been misinformed. I don't know. Anyway, so he does all this, and he basically implied that the finger touch was a sexual thing. He knew perfectly well who Rey is. When you watch the mirror scene, you can see Han and Leia in the mirror, all right? I don't give 2 fucks what Star Wars theory thinks. That's who it is in the mirror. The person who approaches the mirror. Now, a lot of people think it's Kylo Ren, but I don't think it is. I think it's Han. And the only thing that's keeping her from seeing her parents is her fear. And what does the dark side do? It uses your fear against you. All right? Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to the dark side. Ta-da! Yoda 101. But, so why did Rian Johnson, who knows perfectly well he was full of shit when he did that, who decided to play to a very small minority of fans, do that? Well, when you're friends with idiots like Steele Saunders, Brian Young, and a bunch of other morons who, suck your ass every moment for little tidbits of information so they can look like they have the in. All right, I talked about the problem with fan groups being involved with actual filmmakers and movie stars, right? We have that issue settled. If I have to, later I'll go over it. All right. You don't placate these people when you're writing a story. And as far as I'm concerned, when I look at the things that Rian Johnson has said about Reylo, he talks about his mom being a big Reylo. He's trolling you. He's lying. He's saying that to manipulate you. He's saying that to get you to go, ooh. He's saying that so his little buddies out there on the internet can get more views on their YouTube channels and maybe get laid. Because I guarantee you the only reason why Brian Young goes into underage sex chats about Reylo, and the reason why, Steele Saunders displays his feathers like a freaking, I guess, they're weaver birds or whatever they're called. They do this and they do this when they're trying to get the females. Strut around like a peacock with his tail all out, screaming Reylo. Just get laid. That's the only reason why. And they act like they know shit. To put themselves on a pedestal. Look, girls, I am the gatekeeper to all things Star Wars. The fuck you are. As far as I can tell, the people in the story group don't have anything to do with The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, sure, Lucasfilm might be producing, but you know who's actually making The Rise of Skywalker? Bad Robot. Okay? Because JJ hates the story group. Okay? So, all you Reylos are out there being manipulated by, the finger touch effect. It was just, and my mom just loves Reylo. He's fucking with you! Okay? And another thing. There's another chick in a Twitter thread going on and on about how there's all kinds of proof of Reylo. No, there isn't. I've actually not only seen The Last Jedi, I've also read the book. I don't know where you're fucking getting Reylo from it, but it's not in the book. But I can actually read. All right. I'm actually seriously going into paperwork to get my PhD or my master's degree in history from a very well-known university, by the way. So I pretty much understand what words mean. And nothing, even in Jason Fry's shitty novel, does it say anything about Reylo. Okay? It doesn't. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, but it's true. And it sure as hell isn't in the movie. Even with the stupid finger touch. Alright? I don't know in how many words that we have to go through this over and over and over again. Okay? But there is no Reylo. There just isn't. You guys can go on and on. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. This is my favorite thing about the Reylos. Not only do they get trolled hard by Rian Johnson and, Steele Saunders and Brian Young and all the rest of that shit, human garbage. The true misogynist, by the way, in the whole thing. They ignore everything that Daisy said to Steele Saunders. They actually think that somehow that the film was edited. I'm sorry, but it wasn't because I saw it live. She actually really did say that. Now you motherfuckers can say whatever you want. I have the unaltered version of this video. Okay? She called it toxic and abusive and she couldn't get behind it. And by the way, Ben Demption, which is the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. doesn't mean there is a Reylo, okay? How the fuck do you add that into the equation? I don't know. You know, what, in your mind, 4 plus 4 is 10 Reylos? Where the fuck do you get that? And does he deserve redemption? You know, that might be another video for another time. Personally, I don't think he does. Personally, my attitude is, if you dragged him behind a pissed off thoroughbred racehorse over 5 miles over Blue Rock, and then dumped him at the feet of the worst of the worst Reylos, I'd be perfectly happy, because that would be just due punishment. Launch what's left into the sun, okay? Because I'm gonna leave you with this. This is actually what I'm gonna leave you with. He is a poorly written character. He's a poor villain. Adam Driver didn't really want to even play the role because of what Kylo Ren did to Han Solo, and how he felt people would look at him. I personally don't like Adam Driver because of it. I can't look at him without seeing that obscenity anymore. I'm sorry, shoot me, all right? You know, you can all say, well, you have to divide the character away from the actor. Look, Chica, I've been a fan of Star Wars for 40 years. Han Solo is my favorite character, the most underrated character in Star Wars, okay? I've been a huge fan of Leia's. I mean, she was my role model. OT Leia is my role model. There's no fucking way I have to like Adam Driver because of that character, okay? Because I can't help it. Every time I see him, I see that, okay? Every time I see Mark Hamill, I see Luke Skywalker. You know, the Luke I grew up with. Every time I see Harrison Ford, I see the Han Solo I grew up with. Every time I see Carrie Fisher, I see the princess I wanted to be. I don't have to like Adam Driver, okay? I don't. You know, I feel sorry for the guy. And, oh yes, you Reylos, you do stalk him. You do stalk him. Don't sit there and make any excuses. You do stalk him. What was that great line on The Patriot? What is done in my name reflects upon me. What is done in your name is on you. It reflects on your whole weird little perverted, mentally ill group of middle-aged cows and teenage bitches who don't know what a relationship is when it involves a man and a woman, okay? Because you're too involved with fucking Twilight, which was garbage anyway, and 50 Shades of Mommy porn, okay? And yes, Rian Johnson is not only the biggest CLITTs on the planet with this Reylo shit he did, he's also fucking trolling you. Alright? He trolled you. He lied to you. You might as well admit it. There is no Reylo. It's not in the canon anywhere. Okay? Alright? Get used to it. This is Steph signing out. See you around the galaxy. See you around the cantina. Please remember to tip the Wookiee bar 10-20%. No droids, no bounty hunters, no Reylos, no Rey Nobodies, no Rey Kenobis, no Rey Luke's clone hand, no Rey Palpatines, no Reys, none of that of any kind. Alright? No fights in the cantina, gunfights, you take that shit outside. Alright? See you around the galaxy, scoundrels.